What's going on, everybody? It is Triple Crown 24 back on a Friday. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me and taking a look at today's video. Today's topic is going to be on entitlement in the hobby. Now, I want to preface this by saying this is something that I've thought about making a video on for quite some time, and I figured today was a good opportunity. What I like to do a lot of times is try to incorporate my mail days into the topics that I'm talking about so I can show off some of my cards as well, but also make it relatable for those who want to watch the videos. So, going to keep rolling with that format, but I appreciate you guys checking it out. So, I made a trade to get this one of one black from 2019 opening day. I actually traded out two cards in my Miggy collection to a fellow Miggy collector. And we've made a few deals before. He's actually the only guy who I've sold a card out of my collection to, but it was for the purpose of getting this card, which I'm going to replace the black here with this one. So I sold my 2019 Topps Chrome Red Refractor. I'm going to move out of the way because my reflection's in the back and I want it to catch the card, not me. But I sold my 2019 Topps Chrome Red Refractor to fund this card, which is the Ben Baller Red that I needed to complete the rainbow. And at the same time, this guy, he actually has a 2019 Topps Chrome, regular Topps Chrome Super Fractors, so that was one that helped him towards his rainbow, a really big one that helped him towards his rainbow. I believe now, after our trade here, the only thing he's missing is the red wave out of 5. I hope he finds it, but that is definitely not an easy one to find. Now, my point that I wanted to make with this video is I figured I'd talk more about the deal that I made on this red refractor. And I kind of fell into a bit of a trap that I don't like to fall into. And I can admit wholeheartedly here that my mentality towards the purchase of this card wasn't necessarily the healthiest. And anyone who knows what went into buying this knows somewhat of the backstory behind it. And I'm not afraid to admit when I exhibit poor behavior or when I exhibit, something that goes against my own morals. And I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. All of those things don't make me weak. They don't make me vulnerable. They make me human. So I have no problem admitting to those. As long as I learn from them, I think that's a big thing in my book. So what do I mean with this? Well, this card, when it popped up, immediately I got aggressive with it. I went in, I made this guy an offer. He set it up at an auction. I believe it was 99 cents starting bid with a best offer. So I offered him, in my opinion, the king's ransom to get this card. It was nearly double what the last red refractor Ben Baller had sold for of Miggy. And he countered. I messaged him to tell him that this is the last one I need, and I showed him a picture of my rainbow. And he said, that's really cool. I'm willing to work with you on this. So we go back and forth a little bit. He's not really budging, though. His willingness to work seems to be not as much as maybe you would hope so when you hear I'm willing to work with you in terms of how much he's coming down in price. So since it's an auction, I just said I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble here not securing it now, but I think I can get it for less at auction. So I just put in a bid and I said I'll take my chances at auction. Well, I get a notice about 2 minutes later that the listing has been ended and my bid was canceled. And then it was relisted for 500 or best offer. And I was just dumbfounded at the time. I thought, man, this really sucks. I can't believe that he did that. So then we go back and forth. I end up making him an offer that's, we come to terms on something that's about 2.5 times what the last red refractor Ben Baller had sold for. So there's a couple of different ways that you can look at it. What he did wrong? There is no definitive answer to that. I think in a lot of people's eyes, they will say, yes, that's a scumbag move. He knows that you needed the card. He knows that, you're a true collector. He was being greedy with it, etc., etc. That is one way to look at it. The other way to look at it, or one of the other ways to look at it, is that Well, who cares if I need it for my rainbow? He pulled it from a pack. He wants to get as much money for it as possible. That's the goal of the seller. And he can ask whatever he wants for it, and he can accept whatever he wants for it. And are either of those wrong? No, I guess it just kind of depends on where your stance on it is. And if it was me in his shoes, I know what I would have done, which side I would have been on. I won't say which side that would have been, but come to think of it, I was kind of mad at the time when I saw it got pulled down like that at auction, and that he wasn't really willing to work with me, and I had to pay up so much to get it. But really, at the end of the day, regardless if I have the superfractor or not, I am not entitled to own this card. The only way that I was entitled to it is if I paid up what the seller was asking for it and completed the transaction on my end, which I did. And then he sent out the card and I got it. So that was the only way that I was entitled to it. Now, I've had this come up as well with these types of cards and other cards as well, where people have approached me looking at rare Miggy cards and they want to go after them. And they ask me, are you bidding on this? And they say, I am willing to step aside, because they know that Miggy's my guy. They know that he's not really their guy. It's kind of a side PC for them. And this has come up multiple times in the last few weeks. Probably 4 or 5 times from 4 or 5 different people. And the really crazy thing about it is that I feel bad almost. I do appreciate these people thinking of me and making sure that we're not competing against each other. But really, at the end of the day, and I told this to these people as well who have asked me about this, I am not any more entitled to any of these cards than anyone else. Just because Miggy's my focus, it doesn't matter how long I've been collecting him. It doesn't matter how many of his cards I have. It doesn't matter where this specific card falls on my want list. Do I want it more? It doesn't matter. If I want it more, I'll have, if I want it more, I'll pay more than anyone else, and then I'll be sure that I get it. If it's an auction or it's the best offer, I make the highest offer. And I've been seeing this pop up sometimes with some people who they're getting upset when they go after a card and the seller wants too much for it. And really, at the end of the day, it's the seller's right to ask whatever they want for a card. Now, I've definitely been there before where I've been frustrated because the seller is way too high. It's a price that I don't feel is very realistic. And perhaps the seller just wants to show it off. The seller at the end of the day just wants to get as much as possible for it. Can you really fault them for that? No. I mean, when I sell a card, I want to get as much as possible for it. I think anybody that's their goal. But if we take a closer look at it, the only way that you could really have any criticism towards the seller is if they are actively trying to move it and then they complain that no one will pay their price. Well, it's because it's an unrealistic price at that point. If people don't necessarily have to pay your price. And that's the other side of it too, as I've been seeing more and more often where the over-reliance on eBay comps. Now, don't get me wrong. I use the completed sales feature almost daily to check out stuff, usually multiple times a day. But I don't think it's the end-all be-all for things. There's a lot of variance in the hobby, and the cards are not like stocks in the sense that you can't just trade them in at any time to get a certain price. They don't have like an assigned value where you can just trade it into some whatever broker that you're going through to get to cash out, basically. For example, if I have a Juan Soto PSA 10 rookie, just a regular update card, I don't know exactly what they're at now. Last time I saw they're like 175, 200 PSA 10. I say that they're going actively for 200, just for argument's sake, and I have 5 of them. I can't just sell them and collect $1,000 like in the snap of the fingers all at once. I have to put them up, and someone has to be willing to pay what I'm asking for it to get that. And they're not obligated to pay that. They can offer me $100, and if I don't like it, I'll put on auto decline in my listing. But I see people who get really frustrated, and I've had it happen to me too, where I get messages, and I think there's a difference between aggression and hostility. Aggression, I see some people, they'll come and they'll tell me what the comps are on the card. Okay? they're making their case for why they're making their offer. Some people are really polite about it. They say, thank you for your consideration. Some people kind of just put it out there and say, this is what they're going for. That's why I'm offering you this. And that's perfectly fine as well. The only time that really it kind of rubs me the wrong way is when they come back at it and they expect me to sell the card for that price. And at the end of the day, everything in my store is up there for the purpose of selling it. I don't have anything in there that's just for show and tell. I have a lot of other places that I do show and tell with my cards, and I don't want to have them for sale. They're my cards that are in my collection. They're not for sale. But when I put them on eBay, they are for sale. The people do get very upset when you won't give them the price, but they're not entitled to buy it from me at that price. It is my card, and I can sell it for whatever I wish. Or I should say try to sell it for whatever I wish. Now, maybe my asking price is way too high, and then maybe 2 months from now they come back and the market on the card has gone down and they offer me even less than what they did before, and I accept the offer. That's happened plenty of times. I've had people who I made really good offers to that they declined, and then they came back 2 months later and they offered me sometimes even double what they were offering before because a card has shot up that much. It moves around. And if everything was always based on comps, that means that after the very first time it's sold, a card would only continually decline as more and more people tried to edge out the comps until it was worth nothing. But that's just not how it works. The cards move around. So I just wanted to put that out there as a little bit of food for thought, because really, I got to say the Miggy collecting community from the guys who I've run into are fantastic. A lot of them. I've seen a lot of guys who want to help each other out and are really supportive of other people's collections. I can't necessarily say that for all the different player collectors out there. I have heard some stories before where some people are maybe a bit more, I don't know, aggressive with it, or the community isn't as supportive, I guess. I might be missing the correct terminology there. But I am definitely thankful for the community that we have of Cabrera player collectors. But again, that goes back to my point, is just that in terms of entitlement, I'm not entitled to any specific Miggy card. And I got to say, I'm sorry to myself for getting agitated, but lesson learned. So I just wanted to share that little experience and little anecdote with you guys. I do have a couple other things to show off, little holiday mail. Let's start off with this one here. This one came in a couple weeks ago, and I did not include it in my last mail day because the last one was running a bit long, so saved it for this one here. This is coming from our good friend Caleb, Caleb's Cards. Wrote me this really nice note. This will go into YouTube binder for the YouTube PC. And Caleb is one of the most generous people in this community. He is constantly thinking of other people. He's been around a very long time in this community, great longevity on his channel, consistently making content. He's a fantastic TTMer, so if you're not familiar with Caleb, I would highly recommend him. I'm sure a lot of you guys are. He's an OG for sure. So he sent me 3 cards for my Tigers. Actually, I'm sorry, 4 cards for my Tigers collection, including this one right here. This is a Dave Roberts minor league card. And this is the same Dave Roberts who is the manager of the Dodgers, which he wrote in his notes. So that is really cool here. I don't have any of these guys actually in my collection. I got to say, I've been a little bit tempted lately. Dustin from Dustin and Blake, he's been doing a little project where he gets autographs or as many different autographs of players who have played for the Twins. And I've been tempted to start that as a Tigers little side project. I'm not 100% convinced yet that I want to go after it, but after I got in that little package, it was definitely more and more tempting. So big thank you to Caleb. The next one here, I got this little note in. I'm not going to show the back. I'm not sure this gentleman would like me to give out his name, but if he does, I will mention it in the next video. We talked on Instagram really briefly. He is also on the Facebook, and he sent me this little note. He got this Cabrera card, thought of me, and sent it my way. Very kind of him. Again, I'm not going to reveal the name just in case, but if he wants me to, he'll let me know, I'm sure, if he's watching this. He sent me the 2020 update image variation SP. So here he is, spring training 2020, sitting in the Nationals dugout there. Really cool shot. I dig it. So that was really awesome. Thank you so much, sir. I put the card away for this one already, but this was from our good friend Ed Wesker Griff. Check out the shine on this bad boy. This is sweet. This is a finest blue refractor out of 299, 2010 finest. I like this design a lot with the giant logo kind of in the background, shadowed behind Cabrera. Beautiful looking cards. A big thank you, Ed, for those. Our good buddy Wesker Griff, go check him out. And another very generous member of the community here, Mr. Jeremy IP TTM, sent me a little holiday card with the kiddos here. So thank you, Jeremy. I'll put both of those into the YouTube PC binder, which is getting. I'm gonna have to get some more pages in there because I have a giant pocket of cards to put in there. I've been kind of slacking. But he sent me a little card along with it. It's one I did not have. It's the 2020 update. This is one of the active leaders cards. Cabrera, I think he's on pretty much every active leaders card because he's one of the longest tenured players in the league now. So this is the WAR leaders, and you can see only 2 guys ahead of him there. So very cool. Numbered out of 2020. So big thank you, Jeremy, for adding that to the collection. So I'll round out today's mail day video. Big thank you to all those YouTubers who sent me all the mail. I do appreciate it very much so. Not necessary, of course, but it is greatly appreciated. So official Cabrera count is at 2729, 271 to go to 3,000. I'll be sure to see you guys next time. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic weekend if you're seeing this on Friday or whenever you might be seeing this. Stay safe out there and always remember to be kind.